Welcome to Poland Daily History with me, Nicholas Richardson. In this series of episodes, we're looking at the centenary of the Polish-Soviet War, the War of 1920, a war which not only established the new Poland, newly independent after 123 years partition after the First World War, but also stopped significantly the westward spread of the Bolshevik menace. And in the studio, I'm delighted to be joined by Dominik Szczęsny-Kostanecki, our expert on all things historical. Dominik, welcome back.
Many thanks.
At the end of the last episode, we described the background to the war. And now, of course, I think we get to 1919, and let's look at the international involvement and how the war actually began.
Of course, we can look at this war as a struggle or a fight or a clash between two parties, so Poland and the Soviet Russia. But in fact, there are many parties that were involved in the conflict. We mentioned, of course, France and Great Britain in the first place, which were at least anxious about the general outcome, because they knew quite well that the Bolsheviks are keen on not stopping at Warsaw, but to, as you said, spread the Bolshevik menace to the Atlantic. So these two countries. We also have Ukraine. I mean, we mentioned Western and Eastern Ukraine. Let's forget about the Western, because she's already dead at some point. Well, of course, I mean, Poles were responsible for killing the Western Ukraine.
But I mean, that essentially become part of the new Polish territory.
New Polish territory. So the so-called Eastern Ukraine, which doesn't mean exactly what Eastern Ukraine is nowadays, so the Donbas region, but the Central and Eastern Ukraine, let's call it from now on the Eastern Ukraine, or the Ukraine. Piłsudski's idea, we talked about it some time ago. Piłsudski's idea in international politics was to create a federation or a confederation of independent states that have the same political and historical problems with Russia. That is to say, of course, Poland, of course, Belarus, Lithuania, Ukraine, Baltic states, Finland, Georgia, and so on and so on. Because we think in the same way about Russia. We don't have this idea that we can do business with Russia as usual, no. Because Russia is not a partner. I mean, Russia is a threat.
Of course.
If not the evil empire, as somebody put it.
Ronald Reagan, I think.
Ronald Reagan. So that was it. So you have Ukraine, but you have also Hungary. Hungary at some point sent a lot of, I don't remember the figure, but a lot of ammunition to help the Polish soldiers, because Poland was short of everything at that time. I mean, Poland was a non-existent country before the 11th of November 11th. The front moved across Poland, and of course the partitioning powers, the Germans mostly and the Austrians, would absorb anything that was heavier than the air, and to make them continue the fight, the struggle. So Poland was short of everything. So even this relatively small help, but we have to remember that Hungary became a very small country.
Indeed.
Compared to what it had been before, that it was very significant.
Well, maybe we'll look at the war in more detail in the next episode. But thank you for that background. Thank you for watching. That's the background to the Polish-Soviet War. Join us next time where we go into the war in more detail.